Well, after a disappointing, crazy, and then kind of cool at the end June, Nintendo's 2022 is apparently set. Or is it? Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Today we're deep diving into that very question. It looks like it's set, but is it? And I want to get into it with all of you, plus rumblings of new hardware based on Nintendo's shareholder meeting. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Make sure to check out my Mario plus Rabbids coverage. That game is looking super sick, and I feel like people are missing it. So I've got a full video deep dive going over what makes it great, what makes it better, and why it's a true sequel. Anyhow, hit that like button if you're excited. Let me know your take in the comments down below. And before we get to Nintendo's rest of the year, let's touch on what they revealed in their shareholders call. All right, we know Nintendo, like new hardware is inevitable, right? I don't have to tell you that. We don't have to do any special report. Like Nintendo will make a new Switch. They'll make a more powerful Switch. They'll make an iteration. They'll make a next Switch. They'll probably do all of that. They're always working on the next thing, but the next thing is probably close, because Nintendo is spending a ton of money on raw materials, like an absurd amount of supplies, okay? If we look at their expenditures, all right, this is in millions of yen. Fiscal year for this March 2022, they spent 66.5 million yen on raw materials. Now to put that in perspective, last year it was around 9 million, the year before 12 million. Now the year before that was when they launched Switch Lite, and presumably they would have had to buy a bunch of materials to put out the Switch Lite and make the new Switches, and that was still less than half, around 32 million yen. And this year, it's 66 million yen. Now what could possibly cost that much? Your guess is as good as mine, but I bet it's more powerful hardware, I bet it's better screens, and maybe it's a more premium system. Now we won't even say Switch Pro is coming because there's not enough details here. This is more of just like, very interesting. But clearly Nintendo is buying up raw materials and supplies for something massive, okay? People have said maybe this is just raw material prices have gone up, right? The pandemic's caused a lot of industries and supply chains to get really messy, but some people are saying that, hey, raw materials should go up about 10%, and Nintendo has increased their spending like 95%. So there is still a gap, even taking into account, even double it, even triple it. Say raw materials are up 30%. They're spending triple that normal increase, all right? So they are prepping something. Does this mean a Switch Pro next year? Does this mean a Switch Pro the year after that? I don't know, but based on how Nintendo's been operating, based on Breath of the Wild 2, based on this summer, based on the Bloomberg reports of lore and fame and hatred for some people, I think it's happening sooner rather than later, and we'll keep our eyes on this because this 66.5 million yen, it's either going to the biggest amiibo wave ever or a new Switch console. But my friends, right now we have our current Switch, okay? And there was no general direct, none. A June without a general is just, it's a kick in the booty. But they did have a partner showcase that was pretty promising, and let's look at their established lineup. Because right now, going into July, Nintendo has set their 2022 lineup, and this is it. Or is it? All right, so we're gonna go through month by month and see if this is it, or should we expect Nintendo to put forth another title based on gaps? Okay, so if we look at July, it's actually a pretty good list. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Digimon Survive on the 29th are nice titles. I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a bigger game, but people have been waiting for Digimon for a long time. Live Alive is July 22nd. Redout 2 got bumped to July. Okay, you got Klonoa, for those of you who like those games and ports. Capcom Arcade, Fist, Captain Velvet Meteor. There's some interesting, more Eastern third-party titles that are coming this month, but relatively small, just all about Xenoblade. Nothing else big will come out in July too soon, and the month is pretty full. Now, August is an interesting one because August is absent from Nintendo's lineup. There's currently no August game, but we do have a lot of summer titles still, and we have a decent amount of August indies. There's nothing major, but there's like 2 Point Campus, which is a pretty fun sim on making a college. Cult of the Lamb, played the demo, loved it. That's Devolver's next thing, their next big thing, I think. You've got some Prinny classics. You've got Blossom Tales 2, which OG Zelda fans should appreciate. And then Pac-Man World, which was trending because people are all about Pac-Man in 2022 apparently. There's also Front Mission, River City Girls 2, and Baldur's Gate 2, plus that Disney Racer, all coming out this summer. So I think Outer Wilds also is supposed to be sometime soon. Maybe that's a fun drop. And August should also house the next Indie World. That's where hopefully we get something about Sports Story, Hollow Knight Silksong. So August could be really fun, even though there's not a major title. And this is sort of the first, Nintendo could ignore August, but maybe not. To me, August would be a time to put out that hated 1-2 Switch sequel if they don't know what to do with it, but it would be like a Twitter announcement, and they have to do it fast because August is quickly approaching, and I don't think Nintendo can do a game in like less than 6 weeks of lead up and marketing. So like August is really like slim chance. I think August might be running out of hope or hype, and that's gonna probably be the smallest, dullest month in terms of Nintendo Switch releases. There's still some decent stuff, but to me, it's the lowest key. And I feel like at this point, Nintendo is set probably not an August game. There might be an August Indie World or an August Splatoon 3 Direct, and I think both of those are very likely, but the odds of a new August game, unless they announce something in the next week or two, I don't know, it seems unlikely. Now, September really heats things up. Okay, we do get Splatoon 3 on September 9th, which is Nintendo's, trademark tentpole title, and that can own the month. I know they haven't shown a ton, but it's still a really big game, and I hope they can prove why it's a 3. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is doing that, showing why this is a sequel 5 years later, and Splatoon 3 is also 5 years later. Both came out in 2017 on the Switch. I hope they prove it to us. You also have Dreamlight Valley, which is Disney's Animal Crossing. You got the new Taiko no Tatsujin game, which could be fun. Temtem is hitting for Pokemon players that want something pre-Scarlet Violet. Lego Brawls is coming. Lego Brawls is okay, but it's mostly about Splatoon, and then there'll probably be some indie releases, maybe even announced at the Indie World, that help sort of pack in that month. September right now is light though, and this is where we start to get into Nintendo could have something. September 9th to October 20th is a really large gap, and that's the gap between Splatoon 3 and Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Maybe Nintendo is just going light, and of course, as of right now, they are. We don't have anything else, but this is where Bayonetta 3 could probably fit in nicely. All right, if we look at October, we've got Overwatch 2 on the 4th, Persona 5 Royal on the 21st, Mario plus Rabbids on the 20th, Plague Tale Cloud on the 18th, Nier Automata on the 7th, and No Man's Sky also on the 7th, right? It is a really big third-party month, especially if you consider Mario plus Rabbids like a third-party exclusive, which it kind of is. Though Nintendo, from September 9th to November 18th, does not have a tried-and-true big game. There's nothing in that 2-month period, and I bet they put something. Unless Mario plus Rabbids they feel seals the deal, this is probably where Bayonetta goes, and maybe more likely where that 1-2 Switch sequel squeezes through. I suppose the Metroid Prime Remaster that Jeff Grubb has been saying is definitely coming could fit in here as well, although maybe that's a late November game, early December game, I'm not so sure, because it's the tail end of this year where things get dicey, and it's the tail end of this year where like, even at a September Direct, you could announce a game for October 29th, and it would still work. That still would be tons of time. November 5th, that would still be a lot of time. There's a lot of space, and Nintendo, it seems like, have left a hole. So I believe that this is the gap where we will get a game. And then also that gap from October 20th to November 18th is large. That's another like full month gap. It's not as big, but it's substantial. So this is right the range where you could squeeze in 2 projects, 1 project, I don't know about 3 projects, but I feel like 2 more games will get confirmed for this year. Bayonetta and Metroid would be like the good pick, I think. I don't know that there's space for a surprise. If we look at November, it's currently very empty, okay? Harvestella is coming to console, PC, Switch and PC from Square, and then Scarlet Violet owns the month. So Nintendo really doesn't need to do anything, even though the month is very slight right now. It is very small. November is like itty bitty living space, but there's a lot of games that could come out, because if we look at the 2022 list, there's a lot of substantial titles that could fit in, and one of those is from Nintendo, being Advance Wars 1+2. Advance Wars 1+2 is kind of just floating in space. When will it come out? Where will it come out? Who knows? It will come out, so Nintendo could put that in one of these slots. They could put it between Mario and Pokemon. They could put it between Splatoon and Mario plus Rabbids. It's something that is a gap filler, and they need to launch when they're comfortable. It's been due to world events, so I don't know. World events are still happening. That one, to me, is just a complete wild card that could come December 31st. It could come September 1st. I don't know. But it's probably a Twitter announcement, not really a direct type thing. And then on the third-party front, there's just a bunch, right? I mentioned Outer Wilds, which still could come this summer. There's the Lara Croft games, the co-op ones that are really fun games that are supposed to come. There's Monkey Island, there's Dying Light 2, there's Midnight Suns, there's Hogwarts Legacy. A lot of these games, I think, will be packed into November. November is Pokemon month, yes, but for non-Poke fans, the Switch needs some releases. It can't just be Harvestella and Pokemon. This is definitely a not set month, okay? Nintendo might be set in this month with just Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but they could double dip and go Metroid for the 25th anniversary of Metroid Prime. And that would be a nice slot, either before on, say, November 11th, or after on Black Friday, November 25th. They could do that. There's also the Turtles Cowabunga collection. There's Dying Light 2, which I don't even like talking about. Maybe that game comes out. Came out like 6 months ago everywhere else. You've got Evil Dead coming to Switch, Star Wars Hunters, Doraemon. But the big ones to me, Sea of Stars should be nice. Hopefully that gets a release date soon. The big one is Hogwarts Legacy. Is that a cloud game? Is that a cart game? Lord of the Rings Gollum got bumped, Midnight Suns got bumped, so TBD on when those release. But getting Hogwarts Legacy would be fun, and if they can somehow make it cartridge, great. So we also have Sonic Frontiers, and that should hit November as well. Crisis Core is a winter game, but I bet that's early 2023. And then there's, a few other things. Dragon Quest Treasures is the lone game in December, and Nintendo has been known to use December before. In fact, I would think that December is more likely than August at this point, right? I said August is too soon. December, plenty of time. You could bump Advance Wars to December. You could also throw that 1-2 Switch thing in right before the holiday season for a last-second gift or crime against your children. Anyways, I think we are due for 2 to 3 more Nintendo confirmed releases. I think Bayonetta is one of them, Metroid Prime is a second, and then, I guess if you consider Advance Wars, maybe 4, 1-2 Switch and Advance Wars. So I think we know the games, at least via rumors. Nintendo has not confirmed them, but I feel confident in telling you that between September 9th and November 18th, there will be more than the Ubisoft published Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. I know Mario is huge for Nintendo. I know they know it will sell. But between September 9th and November 18th, that is like 9+ weeks. And I think Nintendo will want some release to capitalize on the higher spending in the holiday season, getting ready for the big gift giving season. It just makes too much sense and it's too big of a gap. And I think that's where it'll fall. Now, you might think, maybe they're done with 2022 because the Direct, but Nintendo has used Twitter before, and I think they're gonna use it again for a number of things. Maybe these will fall in the Direct, but I feel good about the year with those caveats, right? With a game coming September 9th to November 18th, with Metroid and Bayonetta getting dated, with maybe Advance Wars squeezing in. It's still a lot of games. We didn't have the big Direct that we wanted, but I still think there's a lot. Let me know in the comments if you feel good about 2022, and if you agree that it's September 9th to November 18th that we're gonna get something good, and fingers crossed it's Metroid. I don't think there's room for a surprise, but hey, I'll be surprised. I love to be surprised. It's probably Metroid, Bayonetta, Advance Wars, and 1-2 suck. Now this is extra interesting because in the poll from a day ago, I asked you why you think Nintendo sat out the summer. Why were they so weird this June and did something June 28th, a partner showcase? Why? Most of you think it's because they have no new games to show. And it's easy to believe that because why wouldn't they do their June plan? And I guess if you look and say, Metroid maybe is viewed as a smaller release since it's a remaster. If you look and say Advance Wars doesn't deserve more direct time. If you say, hey, Bayonetta 3, maybe they think it's too niche, I don't know. But those games could fill up a later show, or maybe Nintendo just doesn't want to do any show. My dog is pissed off about them not having a direct. I agree, I was pissed off as well. 29% of you think Nintendo just doesn't give a crap, and honestly, this is probably the most likely. I know it's the one we don't want to believe, but they probably just don't care. They probably just do what they do, make their money, make good reviewed games. Fans love the games once they're out. This whole dance of live streaming or whatever, they probably just don't care. If they have a show, they have a show. If they don't, they still will sell. We're still gonna go buy Splatoon 3 and Persona 5. We're still gonna go buy Metroid Prime Remaster, even if they announce it in the newspaper, right? They can still do that. Breath of the Wild 2 cannot be shown until next March, and we'll all buy it. So it's probably that. But I go with 19%, which think another Direct will come in July or August. Now, this will probably be Splatoon and or Indie World, but it could still be a first-party showcase. There's still rumblings from Jeff Grubb and Nate Drake about something coming in July or August, something before the September Direct to update us on what Nintendo is doing. 8% think it's because they've got new hardware, and with those freaking raw material spendings, I won't throw that out. Unlikely, probably a next year thing, but it would be super cool and it would explain their silence. I think we all just want a reason for the season of silence. What the heck is it? Probably Nintendo doesn't care, but I definitely care about you, so I'll see you out in the next episode of Good Morning Mario. Thank you so much for being here with me, even though June was all up, down, and all around. I really do love sharing my Nintendo passion with you, and we had some super fun moments of highs and lows, and I guess that's what life's all about. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Until next time, my wonderful friends, thanks again. SwitchForce, out!